What's up, guys? It's Frankie here. We're down at the beach. It's windy as fuck. I say we, I'm alone here, kidless, which is amazing. And I want to talk to you guys in this video about how to get specifically clients off of LinkedIn. For those of you guys who have your clientele on LinkedIn, I've used them to pull actually $100,000 plus clients on LinkedIn. And you don't need a lot of those to move the needle in any kind of agency. So let's get into how to do that. Mucky down here, by the way. The tide is kind of halfway risen. So for you guys who are specifically using on LinkedIn, and I would say only use LinkedIn, by the way, this may sound obvious, but only use LinkedIn if your actual clients are there. So like for me, I go there, lawyers hang out a lot on LinkedIn. They use it to network with each other, so it makes sense to use it. But if I was going after, I don't know, roofers are probably not much on LinkedIn, so I might skip them. And I might use a different strategy. So I just thought I would say that. Now, just made some notes here about how I've generated these $100,000 clients. I'll tell you the biggest thing most people do wrong with this is just send annoying buy my shit kind of messages. And when you send annoying buy my shit messages, you're gonna get a lot of like kind of pushback, Gordon Ramsay style.
You fucking donut. Of course you don't put a fucking...
It was. Okay, good. But madam, unfortunately you're talking out your rear.
Watch your mouth, sir.
Oh, really?
I don't care.
But you're just walking around looking for trouble.
You are.
Why don't you just sit down and stop trying to cause trouble? There we go. Ladies, welcome. Good evening.
How are you?
So sorry about the old bag.
Fuck me. Is that how they're always served? Oh, Jesus. Fuck me.
Have you actually ever sat at a table and watched 6 customers with this fucking donkey's dick swinging in front of their face? It's hilarious.
What the fuck did you put in that sauce? It's like some fucking sci-fi sperm.
When you take a bite of that cod, it's almost like you've got a breaded condom in your mouth. Oof.
Good old Gordon Ramsay. I think he's the insult master of the world. So that's what most people are doing. Mass messaging, buy my shit. Have you bought my shit yet? Well, you should buy my shit. And I want you to think about LinkedIn as like, there's really people on the other side of those profiles and ads. And instead of thinking about them as a number, think about them as a real human being that you are potentially connecting with. And I'll tell you, the easiest way to make that connection is different than what most people think, which is to do 2 things. Thing number 1 is to first take 30 seconds and figure out who they are and what they're doing and what they're up to. And thing number 2 is to figure out how you can add value at the start of that relationship. So, give you an example. I have a friend on Facebook. I don't know her personally, but she sent a bunch of friend requests and just said, hey, I'm really interested in you guys and your business. I saw you guys are doing this. I'd love to do a little 10-minute interview and share your message, get it out with the world. Would you be open to that? Turns out most people are pretty happy to be interviewed. And so, of course, at the end of this 10-minute interview, people say, well, what do you guys do? How can we help? And they're so much more open to that message when she's extended value first. I think her first month of doing this, she signed something like 4 or 5 clients. I believe at $2K a month, so that's like almost 0 to 10K a month in 30 days, just offering people a free interview and then saying, you know, as a step 2. And I don't think people are strategic enough. They're tactical when it comes to trying to make connections on LinkedIn, and so everybody's just mass shouting buy my shit, which is very tactical. But strategic is to say, how can I actually open the door with real influencers in my space? And what would it take? And so almost always if you begin the conversation in them, you're gonna have a much better time doing that. I'll tell you another thing that's worked for us is testing content ideas in LinkedIn groups. As a way to like know, and then what ends up happening is if you put out like 20 pieces of content, one of those will catch really, really strongly, and you can use that as the basis of like whatever you're pitching or whatever you're promoting. So for us, for example, I did this first in 2015 or so, 2016, somewhere around there, and I had a post that crushed it. That was something about the things the 7 most successful agency owners in the world are doing. And that just caught. It was like using the Schwartz.
You have the ring. And I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Now let's see how well you handle it.
Spaceballs. That's a hell of a movie, by the way. If you haven't already watched Spaceballs, you should watch some Spaceballs. So too many people on LinkedIn are not like strategic enough about testing content angles, about actually building real relationships, and they just shout buy my shit. But if you think about it, like imagine that person was really in front of you and you had to really care about them and what they were doing, and you had to really contribute about value, and then think about how I can strategically lead them into step 2 or step 3. So a couple of ways you can do that. One of those is to just have a conversation that leads into what you're doing, but actually to have the conversation be about them. So sometimes with lawyers, I'll say, hey, I noticed you practice. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I noticed a couple of things. Do you guys happen to handle these kind of cases? And they say yes. And I say, over here, I might clean up this little language a little bit. Hey, by the way, if there was a way you could handle more of those cases, would you be interested? And they say yes, because you've actually extended some value and showed them how they can improve their website or improve their own listing and things like that. You would be amazed, right? If I start the conversation about them and their website, hey, I noticed something right here, you might want to fix that. They're much more open to that conversation than, hey, you stranger, did you buy my shit yet? Funny how that works, huh? So then I want you guys to be strategic just about who you connect with. Like, and one of the simplest things is to go into the groups, find out who the influencers are in that space, connect with those people. Build relationships with the people who matter most. I'll tell you, this is actually the biggest thing that can expand your business. I know everybody says Facebook ads and Google, but I'll tell you, long term, the biggest thing you can do is get connected to the who's who in your industry. You would be amazed. It gives you a lot of leeway and a lot of credibility and a lot of influence really, really fast. For me, like, I got connected to a couple of organizations. I spoke at the National Trial Lawyers Association. Suddenly, I was named one of the top 100 trial lawyers in America, despite never being a lawyer. And all of a sudden, lawyers know who you are, which they didn't the day before, right? The day before, I was just another nobody on the internet. Now I'm the guy they've seen at the National Trial Lawyers, and they're interested in working with him because he's a professional. Same guy, but very different perception, right? So you want to do this without the oops.
Oops. Oops.
Without the oops. Yes, without the oops. Good old Independence Day. If you guys remember that movie back in the day, where Will Smith's punching aliens going, oh, hell nah! That's not really a good Will Smith impression. So, if you stick to these fundamentals and you think more about like really connecting with the right people and leading with value and showing up in a meaningful way, you'd be amazed. Getting $100,000 clients off of LinkedIn is pretty easy. And almost all of us know what we would sell them in step 2, but not enough people think about actually adding to the relationship in step 1. You do that and wait till step 2 to offer your shit. So many more people will be open to it. Yeah, it adds an extra step and it's probably more complex and most people aren't going to do it, but that's why most people are unsuccessful with this stuff over the long run. So that's all I got for you guys in this video. May the force be with you, and if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button.